I've got a really curious question for you. Now,
okay, far away.
Some people become mountain leaders. Some people become mountain guides. How the fucking hell do you become a mountain guide to guide people over 5,000 or 6,000 meters? Like, how do you join that together?
The actual qualification is quite a huge process. It takes at least say 4 or 5 years of your time, and probably nowadays maybe $20,000, $25,000 investment to get all the qualifications. But from our perspective, we're looking more at people's experience than the qualifications. Of course, the qualifications are very important, and we need to look at that. But now there's a lot of people becoming qualified, and they don't necessarily have the personal experience, and that from our perspective is the number one criteria when we kind of like looking at mountain leaders and looking at mountain guides, just to have the initiative to say, okay, I'm going to grab a bunch of friends and let's go to Nepal and climb a 6,000 mountain on our own steam. And that for us is a very important part of becoming a solid guide, that you have your own passion, that you have your own willingness to kind of do that rather than seeing it as a job, that it's like, oh, this is a fun way to make some money. It's more important for us to instill this notion to our climbers that we're driven by this. This is what our lives become. And once you start, the passion takes hold. Once you start climbing mountains and you're becoming the mystery of solving their problems, then you start fishing around. It's like, how can I make this work for me? How can I become do this forever? And that's when you start going into looking around and becoming a mountain guide. And that's the route we want people to take when we're looking at employing them. And yeah, so that's all our guides are like that. Like at the moment, I've got a guy working with us, and so he's starting from scratch, and he's working here in the Pyrenees. And he, when he came up and he asked, I'm really keen to start this journey of becoming a mountain guide. And I said, so what have you done? He's like, well, last summer I got a whole bunch of friends together. We climbed 50 of the 3,000 meter peaks here in the Pyrenees. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. I've never heard of anybody doing that. And it's like, yeah, it was just him and his friend. They walked between peaks, and it took them 2 or 3 months to do it. And like thinking, man, that's the spirit. It's just like you love what you do. And of course he's got a job with us now.
Yeah, I think people get very obsessed with the ticket, with the qualification. But in my experience in the outdoors, the decisions that you really have to make that are, I won't say life and death, but they're certainly pretty hardcore. Actually, it's the experience that informs the decision you make, not necessarily the course or the qualification you've got. And if you don't have the experience, it's your first time above 7,000 meters yourself, and then you've got clients with you, you don't really have much to back you up, do you?
No, that's absolutely right. And that's essential for what we're looking for in our guides and leaders, is basically have you got the experience where you've been confronted with these kind of with that decision making process, that you're familiar with making sound calls in stressful situations, that when it does come to making really difficult decisions, do you have what it takes? And that's the kind of process that can only be learned by doing it, rather than reading it from a textbook, and or going to watching an instructional video on YouTube or whatever. You have to have been there and done it, and you have to be familiar with the environment and the processes involved of surviving that environment. And that's experience. That's only experience.
Yeah.